I'm going to bring on our next speaker here. Give me 1 second to bring up Carlos. Give me 1 second here. Carlos, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're at.
Hey, Mitch. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on. I know you're doing a lot of cool things with YouTube and VA loans, things like that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to share with us today.
Sure. I'm going to talk a little bit about my backstory and then talk a little about SEO, blogging, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And more importantly, how to get business without having to go to realtors. That's always, the ace in the hole everybody's looking for. And I have a few ideas.
Awesome, man. Well, do you have slides?
No, I just got notes. I'm just going to read off my notes. And if anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to veer off and, kind of, do things on the fly. I enjoy that kind of thing. So I'm going to go through my notes, and please, if you have questions, please ask me.
Yeah, and I'll jump out of the way and let you have the stage. Okay. And if questions pop up, I'll throw them on the screen, and you can see them as well. Yeah, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. And everybody, my apologies. I've been sick the past few days. My wife was sick over the weekend. She got me a little cold as well. But I have my chloroseptic bottle here. So prayers that my throat stays clear for 35 minutes here while we.
Sounds good, man.
Again, my name is Carlos Scarpero. I'm a loan officer with Edge Home Finance. Been doing this a while. And people ask, how long have you been doing this? And I say, well, how do you want to count it? Because I've actually been in this business multiple times. I'm one of those in and out type of people. So the way I got in this business was 20 plus years ago, 1997, believe it or not. My little brother, Tony, who I believe is on the call as well today, he got in the business first. We were in our mid-20s. I was working at a bank, making no money whatsoever. And he gets his job at a mortgage company, and he starts making money, and what I would consider good money back then, which is, 50 or 60 grand a year, which compared to what I was making at a bank at $10 an hour, that sounded like pretty darn good money. And one day I said, can't beat him, join him. And so I ended up going to the same company. We worked at this company called Heartland Home Finance, and he was in the Dayton office, and I was in the Cincinnati office about an hour down the road. And I did it for a year, and it was good times. And, we basically did cash out refis. They would hand us leads. I don't know about you, if you've been in the business a while, you might remember those days where you could sit in an office and the phone book, they had these ads in the phone book, and you would just sit there and pick up the phone and talk to people. And I did it for about a year, and believe it or not, after a year I got fired. Can you believe that? They fired me. And it's because I wasn't making quota. It's because I refused to do bad deals, and the boss would get mad at me and that kind of thing. And so I got out of the business for 20 years. But every so often I would get back in for a short period. I did reverses for a year. I did title work for a little while. But it was not really a full-time loan officer. Fast forward to 2017, and my business was failing, and Tony, and same brother, was talking about funnels and online marketing and all this kind of stuff. And I realized that there might be a solution for people that, want to get their mortgage to the internet. And so that's what I did in 17. I got back in the business, and I was all arrogant and cocky and thought I would just blow this thing up for sure. I would rank number one on Google and this and this and this. And I don't need those stinking realtors, all that kind of stuff. And first year I struggled. Second year I struggled. Third year I struggled. So by 2020, it was pretty bad. The wife was like, what are you doing? Maybe you should quit. And I wasn't having it. I really had no other options, and it sucked. And I don't know about you. Have you ever seen that month end and your company puts out that report and you see a big fat 0 next to your name, and you're like, my God, I tried as hard as I could and it still made a 0. It sucks. And I did that a few times, several times. In fact, my company threatened to fire me at one point, and it was pretty bad, when I realized that my son, who was working at McDonald's, made more money than me that year in 2020. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do something. And so I left. I became a broker, and at the end of 20, money started improving. And then I ended up really started thinking about, okay, how can I improve myself? How can I improve my business? And so what happened was that I ended up trying to learn a little bit about my mindset. Fast forward 21, I started making a little more money from those refis, as many of you did. And I started following this guy named Renee Rodriguez. I don't know if you've heard of Renee. And Renee invited me to a session down in Florida. I actually got discounted pricing. He kind of started for me because I was so broke at the time. But I put some money on my credit card. I went down to Florida. This is in 2022. And he really turned things around for me. And so that's my first lesson for you today is, you have to work on your mindset. And so what happened was Renee, he sits me down and he says, I'm going to be rough on you. Can you handle it? I'm like, uh-oh. If anybody knows Renee, you know that when he says something like that, it's like, uh-oh, what's this guy got up his sleeve? So he kind of does this kind of, this exercise on me. And he basically says, okay, pretend like you're this big bad drug dealer. And he asked where my family's from. We're Colombian. My mom's Colombian. I'm half Colombian. And I said, we're Colombian. And he said, okay, pretend you're Don Carlos, the big badass drug dealer, and introduce yourself as Don Carlos. I go around the room and I'm Don Carlos. I'm Don Carlos. And we did it like 10 times. And by then I'm like, oh my God, what the hell are we doing? And it was a little bit crazy. But what he didn't know, and what I revealed to him after that little session was Don Carlos is actually my legal name. That's actually what my grandma used to call me when I was a kid. And it was like, oh my God, this has come full circle. And my point with this is what I realized is the confidence was right here. The confidence was right here in my heart. It was inside of me. And I want you to really think about that. And we'll get through the SEO in a minute, but you also have to think about, your mindset and what you're doing and whatever you want to call your inner voice or your, alter ego is what they call it. Work on building that confidence because for me, it was a game changer for me because especially when you talk about YouTube and SEO and that kind of stuff, a lot of times just people's mindset will stop them. Oh, I don't want to create a video. What else? Some people get bad comments on me. Oh, my hair. Oh, this, oh, that. And you got to put all that out the window and say, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to put myself out there. And when it becomes all about your viewer and all about your reader, your life completely changes. And so luckily, I'm happy to report things have turned around. I'm a top producer at Edge Home Finance, top 10% most months. I am licensed in 33 states. I specialize in VA loans, do multiple six figures this year. I've been interviewed multiple podcasts, been quoted in Mortgage Professional America and National Mortgage Professional just this past month. I'll probably do a couple other shows. And I'm 90% VA loans these days. I became a specialist. And so how do I do this? First thing is you got to be on Google Maps. You got to be on Google Maps. No ifs, ands, or buts. I know there's a guy named Austin, and Mitch, you can tell me what time Austin's on. Austin he works with Hammers Company. I don't remember the name of the company, but they can help you get on Google Maps. Essential. Don't even be a cheapskate. Just do it. Get the branch. I know it's a pain. I had to do it. You have to get office space and all that stuff. Get on Google Maps. It's non-negotiable these days. Next, once you get on Google Maps, you need to do what's called citations. And so citations are other websites that list your information. So for example, you got your Yelp, your Merchant Circle, all those kind of online directories. Now that type of thing, you should have a company help you with that because it's a big pain in the ass, a lot of data entry. I like a company called Bright Local for that, but there are a lot of companies that can do citations. So that's my first recommendation there. Next, you look at your local directories because a lot of citation companies won't do local directories. So for example, here in Dayton, we have a service called Dayton Local, which is a local directory. Just some random internet guy from the area built the site himself. It's not a corporate site at all. To look at those local directories and get listed on all of them, name, address, phone number, especially, and your link. And Google sees that. Google sees that as your reputation. They're like, oh, okay, this was a real business. They have a real address. And that's why the office is so important because you need to list that address. Now, you don't have to go to your office. I don't go to my office. I have an office space that I'm paying $250 a month for months and months and months on. I don't ever go there. I don't ever meet clients there. It's literally just an expensive storage unit, but you got to have that. Next, get some reviews. Borrowers are looking for reviews. And you might be like, well, I just deal with realtors. They're still looking you up. What reviews do you have? I have 60 on my website, and I guarantee that people call me because of that. Because I've had people tell me, well, I was looking at 3 loan officers. I see your 60 reviews. You have a 5-star rating. You specialize in VA loans. Okay, I want to work with you. So definitely you got to do that. Next, get a website. In this day and age, the internet's 28, almost 30 years old at this point. Get a website. It's not that expensive. It's not that bad. And don't be cheap either. It's an area where you need to invest in yourself. But the important people will ask, oh, well, which website should I get? Go to this provider or that provider, blah, blah, blah. People overthink it big time, or they overlook at the graphics. The big thing with the websites is you need to get a website that's customizable. I talk to so many loan officers that are, looking at their websites and be like, oh, I got no leads from my website. Oh, have you done anything to your website? Well, no, I just get the little template the company sold me. Oh, okay. So it's the same template that 500 other websites in your market have. Yeah, Google's not going to do anything with that. So you need to find a website provider that allows you to customize it. Hopefully they let you customize it, because if you're hiring someone, that becomes a whole hassle. And then create content, put that content on the website. YouTube channel, also essential. And people ask me, well, is YouTube really big these days? No, think about this. The number one VA loan officer in America last year, and you can look on Reddit or MMI or whatever, was a lady named Jennifer Beeston out of Florida. Really super sharp. I do follow her channel. And she gets all her business from YouTube. She did 400 and something loans last year. It's insane. I think she did 650 in the peak. It's all documented on Reddit. Essential. Get on YouTube. And another great channel, Kyle Seagraves. He has a channel called Win the House You Love. He's actually here in Ohio, up the street from me. I think he had 171 million views the past couple of years. So yeah, I mean, YouTube is the thing. People go on these. And it's owned by Google. The other thing is, be a niche player. So many people will create their content, and one post will be on the FHA loans, one post will be a VA loans, one post will be about non-QM loans, another post will be talking about the economy or something else. And the problem is that Google and AI and these online searches, they really get confused and they don't know what you're doing, and your audience gets confused. And so understand the following: who do you serve? Why do you serve them? And what drives you? What is your mission? Another great person that I've actually followed online is Dave Ramsey. I know a lot of us don't like Dave Ramsey, including me. His advice sometimes is kind of shaky in terms of mortgage advice, and I don't agree with him on everything, but his marketing advice is spot on. I did watch an interview with him the other day, and he talks about this. It's like, what is your mission? Who do you serve? And why do you serve them? And he knows he doesn't have to please everybody. And it was such a revelation and such a relief that you make your video and you make your blog post about that one particular person you want to serve. So for me, I want to serve veterans, and so I am super passionate about that. Now within that, you also have niches and sub niches. And so first, let's talk about keyword research. You need to know what you're rank. If you're going to rank for something, you got to know what you're going to rank for and why you want to rank for it. And people overthink keyword research. Yeah, there's software you can buy. It can be expensive, but don't overthink it. I say use product name plus city name. So for example, Dayton, Ohio VA loans would be the first niche for me. So my challenge to you is figure out what product do you want to promote, and then what city do you want to rank for in that. And then what you do is you go and research online who is ranking for that now. And then the next step is, how do I knock this guy off of page one? And it's pretty easy, actually. It's content. They have a 500-word article, you make 1,000. They have 1,000, you make 2,000, etc. And you look and you see the holes. And also, when you create that content, you look at, okay, one, is their content accurate? And oftentimes it's not. And two, can you cite more sources? When I do a blog post about VA stuff, I will cite the VA handbook, Google loves that stuff. According to the VA handbook, this and this and this, and I'll quote the VA handbook, link to it, that type of thing. A lot of services don't do that. There's so much misinformation online about that stuff. Next, look at sub niches. So for example, you got VA renovation, multi-unit VA, bad credit VA. You're all kind of little sub niches. So can you rank for a sub niche in your area? So for example, bad credit VA loans, Dayton, Ohio, bad credit VA loans, Cincinnati, that type of thing. And then, just focus everything on that one keyword. Get what's called topical authority. And topical authority is a big fancy word that they use in the SEO space. And that basically means you're an expert in that one thing. And that's why it's so important to be a niche player, because that way you can rank for that one thing. And then once you are ranking for that one thing, you can decide, okay, do I want to rank for other things in my local area? or do I want to go expand into multiple states? So for me, I was like, okay, I want to really rank for VA loan state in Ohio. So I had a choice. I could either do other things in Dayton, or I can go multi-state and be a VA player in multiple states. And so I chose the second route. I said, you know what are little sub niches where Veterans United is missing the ball, where Veterans United is getting turned down. And so for me, I found a couple niches. For example, I started doing VA renovation, and I realized that even if Veterans United is ranking higher than me, they don't offer that product. So even if the borrower calls them, I just have to be on page one. I just have to be high enough that when they get turned down, I'm the next number they call. Because this is the way borrowers think. I can tell you this right now, that when someone gets turned down, they don't give up. They just go down the page to call the next number. The question is that next number you, or is that next number someone else? Let's see. And the next thing is create good linkable content that people want to link to. I put calculators on my site. There are all kinds of software programs build calculators out. Just create better content. It's as simple as that. Look at the content being created and create something better. Believe it or not, the big companies have horrible content. Most of it's inaccurate. So that's definitely something good as well. And now I want to go through some content creation tips. What questions are your borrowers asking? We get questions every single day in this business, right? So you got to think about that. What questions are they asking? What stories happened to you? Where did things happen in your stories that you can post about? For those of you that follow me on Facebook, I posted one last night about a 468 credit score that we managed to get approved. So what stories do you have that you can share? What hard file did you close? And here's a big one. What topic did you ask your AE about today, or ask the loan officer community? Because most likely, if that topic is deep enough and tough enough that you're having to ask somebody about it, most likely your borrower is asking that too. And your borrower's in that situation as well. And I create a lot of content around that. Here's another one. What annoys or angers you? Whether it's credit repair services, they're doing shady things, whether it's companies that are overcharging. Jen Beeston, the person I just talked about, she does a lot of stuff about overcharging. Yeah, that's like her thing that she'll talk about. So what annoys you about other companies? Or what scams are you seeing? The scam stuff works pretty well. What are some misconceptions that you're hearing from borrowers? In the VA space, there's tons of misconceptions that we're hearing. How can you correct those misconceptions in the marketplace and rank? You can look at what's ranking in the Google and AI search. What Google and AI results have bad or incomplete info. I look at that all the time. I'll look at the Google search and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. I'll give you an example. The other day, there was a whole conversation at a VA about some company that had posted some really, really bad info about whether you can count student loans. Basically, if you're collecting money on the VA program, the student loan program, that we're not supposed to count that income. Anybody that has been a loan officer any period of time knows that those stipends cannot be counted. Well, this company had posted that you could incorrectly. So there was like this whole conversation with VA. Oh my gosh, and everybody's all mad about it. And I said, well, don't get mad. Just knock them off of Google. Just go create some content to knock them out of the next page. You put the right content. And sure enough, that's what I did. I went and created a video around that topic and used enough keywords in that video to knock them to page 2. The other thing is what video was posted and shared that could be a video or blog post. I'll give you an example of this one that happened yesterday. Bill Stevens, a lot of you guys know him. He had shared a post yesterday about it was about closing costs. And basically, there was a cool graphic that a loan officer had made where they basically pointed to the top of the graphic and it said, these the lender can adjust, these the lender cannot. Basically saying, if you're evaluating a loan estimate, look at just the lender fees and the points and the rate and that type of stuff, because title fees are the title fees, as we all know. But the problem is borrowers don't understand that. And so they might get one loan estimate with $3,000 in title fees and the other loan estimate is $1,500 in title fees, and they think I'm getting a better deal when in fact they just underquoted the fees, that type of thing. That's a great topic. I was like, wow. And that thing had 20 shares. It was all over the internet. So what things are you seeing like that? What can you turn into a video? I definitely want to look at turning that into a video. How can you repurpose content? There's so many websites now. And here's another thing I got from Dave Ramsey in one of his seminars is be platform agnostic. Dave said he's on YouTube, he's on Spotify, he's on Sirius, he's on traditional radio, he's on TV, he's here, there, and everywhere. He doesn't rely on any one platform. And the reason being, you never know when that platform's going to go away. As we've seen, TikTok might go away any day now with all the legal stuff going on. We just don't know. What if you put all your eggs in that TikTok basket and then it went away? You're kind of hosed, aren't you? So kind of his thing is put the stuff everywhere. You're already creating it. Why not post it everywhere? And there are software programs you can get for that. Repurpose.io is one I like. The other one is turn your videos into blog posts. I use ChatGPT for this. It's very helpful for that. I like StreamYard as well. That's what we're using on this webinar today. That can help as well. Next, let's talk about equipment. Keep it simple. So many people are like, well, I don't have a camera. I don't have this. I don't have that. Your phone. Everybody's got a phone, right? I got a phone sitting here on my desk. Most of these phones have, 50 megapixel cameras on them now or something ridiculous. Start simple. Upgrade your mic. The mic's always good to start with. And just take action. And then you can get a webcam. I have a Lumina Pro webcam. I've been using it for years. And then, once you make some money and start doing better, then upgrade to something else. I just want to give a couple other resources. I like a company called Think Media. Sean Cannell runs that. He has a training course on YouTube I've taken. They got a lot of free stuff too. Just go watch his free videos. And a guy named Matt Diggity, Diggity. He's an SEO guy. You can watch his stuff, and he's got a lot to say about SEO and all those SEO topics. But that's the very high level, quick overview. I've got time for questions. I don't even know how long I went. How long I go, Mitch? I don't even know. How much time we got?
Let's look. 12. You're pretty much right on time. You're bringing us back on time. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that works.
Look here and see. So, anybody have any questions? About for Carlos, I did put a couple notes in there. He was talking about which was Hammer Helmer and Austin. Austin will be speaking first thing tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. But they're with Originator Success. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're good people.
And then if you're looking to get Google reviews, actually my buddy Tommy Clifford will be our next sponsor coming up, and he has an awesome thing. He has a card. It's a little business card you just whip out, and people can click and go right to your Google reviews and leave you a review instantly. Cool. While you're at the closing table or wherever you're at. So he'll be speaking next. So that's pretty cool. And it's important, like Carlos said, to get Google reviews so people know that you're legit.
Yeah. My only thing with Google reviews is I don't like automating it, because what if it automates it to someone that is going to leave a bad review? If you have a less than perfect experience, I don't want them to leave me a review. So
Tommy has things in place that help that.
Oh, cool. Okay. And
you can help, weed out some of that stuff.
Yeah, so that's kind of my game is, if, like yesterday, we closed a really hard file, and the guy, I called the guy and said, congratulations, clear to close. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is crazy. Thank you. And I said, can you leave me a review? He said, absolutely. Cool, here's my link. Like that type of thing. And of course, he did. Like, literally that afternoon, he left me a review. So like that, to me, I think that's better than the automate, because it doesn't take that long to send a link for a review. But yeah, I mean, whatever works for you. I mean, take action no matter what. And I think, again, people overthink it. Well, what if I use this, or what if I use that? What if I use this platform or that platform? Just take action. Take imperfect action and adjust it later.
Right. Like my friend Steve Sims always says,
thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Start now, get better later. So you just got to start.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Carlos, I appreciate you joining us, man. And,
thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Questions for Carlos, go join. He's on Facebook, so you can find him on there.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch. Sounds good.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Let's bring on our next sponsor, my good buddy here, Tommy Clifford. How are you, sir?
Mitch, how are you? I am fantastic. Happy day. I just got done seeing my kids in a play or a musical, and so I'm all jacked up and ready to talk and to share with your great audience. Thanks for having us as a sponsor.
There's nothing better than seeing your kids do something exciting, to just get that dopamine flowing.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I need to take salt tablets. I spend a lot of time crying because it's just so wonderful to watch your kid. You're right. When you watch them just get out of their shell and do something amazing that you never thought you'd ever see them do, it's like, wow. Wow.
I got a friend and a coworker whose daughter is in the WWE.
Wow.
And she just won her first ever title on a ladder match. And he's like 3 days out and he's still amped up. Like, we were talking yesterday and he's like, I just, like it's just flowing. And he's like, the dopamine doesn't stop. But, seeing something like that and seeing your daughter reach the pinnacle of, her passion and her love. I mean, it's awesome.
It sure is. It sure is. So thank you for having us. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Google Business Profile and got some fun things to talk about. So thanks for having me, Mitch.
Yep, I'm gonna let you go right ahead.
Okay, let's talk for a second. How many people have a Google My Business page? Put that in the comments. Let's see what kind of numbers people have. Do you have a Google Business Profile or Google My Business page? And how many 5-star reviews do you have on that page? Do you have 10? Me? Great. Joseph, perfect. I love that. Ken, Paul, thank you for saying hello. What's a 5-star review worth to you? 10 5 stars. That's awesome. Drew, how are you? That's fantastic. 6. I love seeing that. And there's some people who put a price to a 5-star review. I know somebody who thinks that it's worth $50. Wow, that's crazy. $50 for a 5-star review. That's awesome. What's it worth to your business? Never pay for reviews. Google knows the IP addresses they came from. Google will take them down and you'll get dinged. You will absolutely positively get dinged. Don't waste your time. Don't bother. I promise you, been there, done that. I have the t-shirt. 101 reviews, not enough. Awesome. 36, 20. Laura, thank you. Alex, thank you for saying hello. Please never pay for reviews. Getting reviews and building your Google Business Profile is really simple, and we're going to walk through it. We're taking a speed run, but we're going to walk through this. First step you got to do is optimize your profile. Are you using I just had to bring that up. Sorry. Do you have photos on there? Do you have your current address, your current phone number? Make sure to optimize your Google Business Profile. Update it. People want to know. A lot of people feel that your Google Business Profile is one and done. Tom Seaman, 141 5-star reviews. Fantastic. That is awesome. We want to be like that place in Appleton called Appleton Axe. They have like 1,800 5-star reviews, but they have a system. And I know the last guy talked about a system, but we want to make sure that we get people when they're smiling. That's important. We want to make sure that you update your products and services, have some question and answers on there. Make it so people don't have to go to your website to get answers. They can go to your Google Business Profile for answers. Okay. We have to make asking for reviews a habit. You want to make sure that when they're smiling the brightest, they can get instant access to your Google Business Profile. You can say, hey, what a great experience. And don't wait till the end. People can change their Google Business review anytime they want. Whenever they're smiling, hey, would you leave me a review? Well, I'm not done with the process yet, but you've been happy so far. Yeah, tell me about that. Tell people about the onboarding process or tell people about the initial consultation. Whatever it happens to be, ask for reviews. Put a link in your email signature. Put a QR code on your business card. Mitch was talking about this. This is our Google review card. That's my Google Business Profile. If you want to scan it and leave me a review on how I'm doing, that's wonderful, wonderful too. But this card makes it so easy that all you have to do is tap it to the back of your phone, and it takes you right to your Google Business Profile. So whenever someone's smiling, you pull out the Point of Smile card and have them get a review. Works every time. Okay, you want to filter out negative reviews. If you're worried about negative reviews, there's tools in place where you can have people say, you know what? How did we do? Did we do thumbs up, smiley face, frowny face? If it's a smiley face, have them leave a review. If it's a frowny face, what did we do better? What can we do better before they put you on full blast? Sure, you can click here to leave a review, but how can we make things better? Okay. You must respond to every one of your reviews. Tom, 141 reviews need 141 responses. What's beautiful about that is when you respond to it, you seem genuine. People want to be around companies that are genuine, that are going to build that trust and who are going to help. If customers see you taking time for your reviews, they know you're going to take time for them. So I think that's important. Showcase your reviews on your social media. Share it on Facebook. Share it on LinkedIn. People want to be around people that get good reviews. That's a top-notch thing right there. Even put your reviews back on Google. Upload them as a picture onto your Google Business profile, which is going to help you rank. The more you're in your Google Business profile, the more Google's going to see that, which is going to help your search engine ranking. There's like 300, 400 different ingredients in your SEO. Leveraging your reviews helps increase your SEO. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is, you know what? If you're struggling getting reviews, there are online platforms that can help you. You can help you block out negative reviews. If you want, you say, well, I don't have time to review. There's AI tools to respond to these posts. There's automated ways of posting these around the horn. So that can be done also. One last thing. I want you to scan this QR code and download my customer loyalty playbook. It's on my website. There's a big form on the middle. That playbook, it's completely free. I'm not selling you anything. I want you to build your brand. I want you to get this playbook, and then I'll send you some information about being able to buy these cards if you're interested in it. But I want you to have something free. I want you to have something that is going to make a difference for you and your business to help you help you build and make sure that those mortgage clients come back to you time and time again. So, Mitch, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being part of this community and being a part of this for almost, it's been a long time, Mitch, and I love it, and I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's funny because I was listening to Carlos and I was putting notes in, and then I realized you were right after him. So I was like, well, that's perfect. Like, they say, perfect comedic timing. That was just perfect timing for you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I see people are filling out the form. I appreciate that. I hope you have a great afternoon. Mitch, what a great event. You're getting this out of the way so that we can all spend Thursday night through Saturday at the NFL draft. Are you coming to town, Mitch?
No, I wish, but I'm rooting for the Bears to have a good draft again.
Okay. Bears have a good draft. Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, everybody.
All right. See you later, Tommy. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
All right.